Welcome, dear friends, to the story of me and you. This is a space where the wonders of our planet meet the silent corners of our soul. Today, I invite you on a journey, not just through geography, but through mystery, memory, and meaning. This is not only the story of a lake, but of life itself. A silent giant beneath the Siberian sky. They say the deeper the silence, the louder the stories it keeps. Nestled in the frozen soul of Siberia, Lake Baikal holds more than just water. It holds time. At first glance, Baikal is vast and silent, a stretch of glass-blue wilderness cradled by mountains and wrapped in mist. But beneath its serene surface lies a heartbeat that has been pulsing for over 25 million years. At 1,642 meters deep, Baikal is the deepest lake on Earth. It holds 20% of the world's unfrozen freshwater and is so ancient that some scientists call it a liquid fossil. But numbers alone cannot capture what Baikal truly is. To stand on its icy shores to feel something stirring in your chest. A hum, a pull, a quiet echo of something older than civilization. In the winter, the lake freezes over, becoming a crystal desert where the wind sings through cracks in the ice. In summer, it turns to liquid sapphire, reflecting the sky like a mirror to heaven. But regardless of the season, Baikal never truly reveals all its secrets. It watches, it waits, and it remembers. More than a lake. A living soul. Baikal isn't just a geological formation. It's a living soul, a keeper of time, a guardian of life. Scientists have recorded over 3,600 species of animals and plants here, and nearly 80% of them exist nowhere else on Earth. But these are not just species, they are ancient whispers of evolution, proof that life, when given silence and space, becomes art. Some locals believe Baikal has moods. Fishermen say the water can suddenly turn violent as if protesting something unseen. Others tell of moments when the lake seems to breathe. The fog shifting like the breath of a sleeping giant. You don't just visit Baikal, you meet it. And if you listen closely, it meets you back. But what lives beneath the surface of Baikal is even stranger, even more astonishing. In the next part of our journey, we will dive deep, not just into cold, dark waters, but into the very essence of what it means to exist, where the sun doesn't reach and the rules of life bend. Chemiferous. The melting fish. Down in the coldest, darkest waters of Baikal swims a creature so strange it seems born from a dream. The chemiferous, a translucent fish made almost entirely of fat, defies everything we think we know about biology. It has no scales. Its flesh is soft, almost jelly-like. When taken out of the water, it begins to melt under sunlight, as if the world above is too harsh for its fragile beauty. Locals call it the ghost of the lake. But this ghost is crucial to the Baikal ecosystem. It dives deeper than 1,000 meters and serves as the main food source for one of the lake's most iconic creatures, the Baikal seal. Pusa sibirica, the freshwater seal. Now imagine this, a seal, a creature of oceans, living and thriving in a landlocked lake. The Baikal seal, or Pusa sibirica, is the world's only exclusively freshwater seal. How it arrived here remains a mystery. Some believe ancient rivers carried its ancestors from the Arctic, thousands of years ago. Others think underground passages linked Baikal to ancient seas. Whatever the path, one thing is clear. The seal has made this lake its home. It can dive hundreds of feet, survive under thick ice, and rear its pups on snow-covered shores. Watching a Baikal seal surface in a field of ice is like witnessing a miracle. It reminds us, even isolation can give birth to resilience. Episcura baikalensis. The invisible cleaner. In every drop of Baikal's water swims a silent hero. The Piscura baikalensis, a tiny zooplankton, is the lake's natural purifier. Billions of them work tirelessly, filtering bacteria, algae, and micropollutants from the water, making Baikal the clearest large lake on Earth. They are so small, we don't see them, but without them, Baikal would lose its purity. Isn't that the essence of many quiet lives? Unseen, uncelebrated, yet vital? In 2012, Russian scientists drilled deep beneath Baikal's frozen floor and discovered something beyond imagination. Ancient bacteria, sealed in darkness for millennia. These organisms survive without light, oxygen, or warmth. And some might hold secrets to regenerating tissue, breaking down plastic, even curing cancer. Life, once again, whispers. Where you think there is nothing, there might be everything. But what if these strange creatures are not alone? What if there are watchers, beings, mysteries, deeper still? In the next chapter, we explore the supernatural side of Baikal, stories of shining lights, unearthly beings, and encounters science cannot explain. Beneath the glassy surface of Lake Baikal, life thrives in silence. But what if something else stirs in the depths? Not a creature, but a presence. In this chapter, we dive into the uncharted. Stories passed down in whispers, moments suspended in disbelief, and questions that leave scientists staring into the dark, speechless. The swimmers from nowhere, the Baikal humanoids. It was the 1980s. A group of Soviet military divers descended into Baikal's icy depths on a routine training mission. What they encountered would never be officially recorded in any report. According to declassified accounts, the divers came face to face with human-like beings, 2 to 3 meters tall, moving effortlessly through water without any breathing equipment. Their skin shimmered silver. Their eyes were large and dark. And they seemed to watch, not with fear, but with calm curiosity. When one diver attempted to capture a creature using a net, an unseen underwater force caused a violent decompression surge. Several divers were injured, others never resurfaced. The incident was quickly buried by Soviet secrecy. But to this day, retired officers whisper the same chilling phrase, "We were not alone." The lights beneath. Unidentified underwater phenomena. Fishermen speak of it, locals see it, but no one can explain it. At night, glowing orbs, blue, green, orange, have been spotted rising from the depths of Baikal. Sometimes they hover, sometimes they vanish in a flash. Some believe these are biological. Rare luminous plankton. Others claim they are advanced underwater crafts, controlled by something or someone not from this world. In 2009, a pilot flying over Baikal captured a video of a massive glowing formation just beneath the surface. It moved, not like a wave, but with intention. Was it natural? Was it man-made? Or was it something else? Lake Baikal is not the only place with mysteries, but few places are so cold, so deep, and so ancient, all at once. Maybe that's why the veil between science and spirit is thinner here. Scientists who come to study Baikal often leave with more questions than answers. Some return again and again. Not for data, but for something they can't name. A feeling, a presence. Maybe some mysteries aren't meant to be solved. Maybe they're meant to keep us wondering, humble, in front of a universe that refuses to explain itself entirely. A cradle of evolution. Baikal is home to over 3,600 species, and nearly 80% of them are found nowhere else. This makes it a goldmine for evolutionary biology. The creatures here, from melting fish to microscopic plankton, have adapted to conditions so extreme they rewrite our understanding of what life needs to thrive. Scientists call this lake an evolutionary island, a place where species evolve in isolation, just like the Galapagos. But here, evolution has had 25 million years to work. The result? A biological tapestry more intricate, more ancient, and possibly more important than we can yet understand. A medical frontier. Bacteria of the future. In its frozen depths, Baikal preserves more than ancient water. It shelters ancient knowledge. The bacteria discovered here in 2012 live in complete darkness, under crushing pressure, and at near-freezing temperatures. These organisms are being studied for their unique enzymes. Some may help regenerate tissues, fight antibiotic-resistant infections, or even break down plastic waste. In a world racing toward environmental and medical crises, Baikal may hold solutions hidden in its silence. A natural climate archive. Baikal is like a climate time capsule. Its layers of sediment hold records of Earth's temperature, atmosphere, and life over millions of years. By studying these layers, scientists can track climate shifts, ecosystem changes, and even predict future environmental patterns. With climate change accelerating globally, Baikal acts like a natural thermometer, warning us about the warming planet, not through alarms, but through layers of silent memory. A window into alien worlds. The extreme conditions at Baikal, freezing temperatures, high pressure, no light, mirror environments believed to exist on other planets and moons, like Europa, Jupiter, or Enceladus, Saturn. Studying life here helps astrobiologists imagine how life might exist beyond Earth. In other words, Baikal isn't just about understanding this planet. It's about expanding our understanding of life in the universe. But even with all this beauty, knowledge, and promise, Baikal is in danger. In the next chapter, we confront the hard truth, the threats that jeopardize this treasure, and the urgent call to protect what cannot be replaced. What do we do when something sacred is in danger? When the very heartbeat of a living treasure begins to fade? Baikal, this ancient, silent soul of the earth, is not immune to the wounds of the modern world. And now, it calls not for admiration, but for action. Each year, more waste seeps into Baikal from industrial plants, unregulated tourism, and household sewage from nearby towns. Plastic bottles float where seals used to play. Algae blooms, once rare, now choke parts of the lake with greenish scum. Locals say the water isn't as clear as it once was. Scientists are finding traces of heavy metals, microplastics, and toxic compounds in species once thought pristine. Baikal, once the cleanest large lake on Earth, is now slowly being stained by the very civilization that claims to love it. As global trade and travel increase, Baikal is seeing an influx of non-native species, mussels, foreign algae, even fish brought in accidentally by boats or travelers. These newcomers, with no natural predators here, often outcompete native species, disrupt delicate ecosystems, and threaten endemic life that took millions of years to evolve. What took nature 25 million years to perfect can begin unraveling in just decades. In recent decades, Baikal's water levels have fluctuated unpredictably. Winters are warmer, ice forms later, and melts sooner. Species that rely on seasonal rhythms, like the Baikal seal and tiny Episcura, are struggling to adapt. And when the rhythms of life are disturbed, everything connected to them begins to fray. Baikal is not just reacting to climate change, it's signaling it. Baikal may lie in Siberia, but its story belongs to the world. It is not just Russia's lake. It is Earth's memory, our shared heritage, and perhaps even our future. UNESCO, WWF, and many local organizations are working to preserve Baikal. Laws are being passed. Satellites monitor water quality. School programs teach children what's at stake. But none of it matters without collective care. Because what Baikal needs most is not another study. It needs guardians. It needs us. Why does Baikal move us? Why do we care so deeply about a lake thousands of miles away, in a land of snow and silence? Perhaps the answer lies not in geography, but in something far more intimate. Belonging Baikal, in all its stillness, reflects not just the sky, but our soul. When we look at its ancient waters, we are reminded of how small we are, and yet how deeply we belong to something immense, mysterious, and alive. We see our own fragility in its melting ice, our resilience in its ancient seals, our future in its bacteria, and our memories in its layers of sediment. Nature doesn't just exist around us, it exists within us. We often think of environmental protection as something local, a national park, a city recycling program, a policy. But Baikal shows us otherwise. Here is a lake in Russia, yet its water cycles through the clouds, its winds cross borders, and its ecological health echoes across the globe. To care for Baikal is to care for ourselves. To harm it is to forget our place in the web of life. Across cultures and religions, water is sacred. It baptizes, purifies, remembers. Baikal, with its clarity and age, holds not just molecules of hydrogen and oxygen, but millions of years of memory. It is a kind of Earth's consciousness, a reservoir of time itself. When we protect Baikal, we are not just saving a lake. We are honoring a story that is older than us, yet somehow includes us. What will we leave behind? Every generation is faced with a choice: to consume or to conserve, to exploit or to protect, to forget or to remember. Baikal asks us a simple question: what kind of ancestors do we want to be? Our children may never walk its icy shores or hear the whisper of its seals, but they will feel the impact of what we do today. And maybe, just maybe, if we listen, truly listen, we can become more than visitors on this earth. We can become its guardians. In a world obsessed with speed, size, and spectacle, Baikal whispers a different truth. What is smallest may be wisest. The lake's greatest guardians may not have faces or voices, Episcura baikalensis. The invisible hero, barely visible to the naked eye. Episcura baikalensis is a tiny crustacean, yet it filters tons of bacteria and algae every single day. These microorganisms are nature's original purifiers. They clean without asking, serve without recognition, and endure without protest. In them, we find a profound lesson. Purpose does not require applause. Meaning can exist in stillness. Yet they shape the very conditions of life. Ancient bacteria, keepers of forgotten wisdom, discovered deep beneath the ice. In 2012, Baikal's ancient bacteria have survived in absolute darkness, without oxygen, under immense pressure. Yet they persist, not just to exist, but possibly to heal. Some strains show potential to regenerate human tissue, fight antibiotic resistance, and even degrade plastic waste. The solutions to humanity's greatest challenges may not lie in our laboratories, but in the oldest cells on Earth. Microscale, macro impact. It's tempting to think power is loud, or visible, or dominant. But Baikal shows us that the quietest forces are often the most vital. These microscopic organisms keep the lake alive. Without them, the seals, the fish, even the myths, would vanish. What if the world doesn't need more control, but more cooperation? What if the future isn't built by force, but by balance? Lessons from the invisible. In schools, we rarely teach about plankton. In the media, we rarely speak of bacteria as heroes. But what Baikal teaches us is radical in its simplicity. Every being matters, even the unseen, especially the unseen. Maybe if we learned to value the tiny, we'd take better care of the grand. Maybe if we listened to nature's smallest voices, we'd become more human. We began this journey with a lake, cold, deep, and far away. But we end it with something much closer, ourselves. Because in seeking Baikal, what we truly found was a mirror. We are part of the story. Baikal's waters are ancient, but its message is timeless. Everything is connected. The fish, the ice, the plankton, the stars above. And us. We are not separate. We are not above. We are within this story, written not in ink, but in snow, wind, and water. For too long, humanity has lived as if we were visitors on this planet. But we are not guests here. We are home. And with home comes responsibility. The real treasure. Baikal is not just valuable because it's old or deep or beautiful. Its real treasure lies in what it teaches us about life. That balance matters. That silence has wisdom. That small things make great changes. These aren't just facts about a lake. They are truths about how to live, how to care, how to belong. What will we choose? Now that we know, what will we do? Will we scroll past? Or will we stand up? Every choice matters. Every voice counts. Whether you're a scientist, an artist, a teacher, a child, you have the power to protect something greater than yourself. You don't have to save the whole lake, but you can save your part of it through awareness, through kindness, through courage. A story without an ending. This is where the documentary ends, but the story doesn't, because Baikal is still breathing, still whispering, still waiting, not for another study, but for our return. And maybe, just maybe, if we learn to listen, not just with ears, but with the heart, we will see the earth not as a resource, but as a relative, not something to use, but something to love. Thank you for joining us on this journey through Lake Baikal and into the heart of what it means to care, to remember, and to belong. This is the story of me and you, and maybe somewhere beneath the ice, in a place older than time, the lake is listening too.